It is Thursday. Thursday, what is the day? February 10th, 2022. And we are in the Great Coding Stew. And today I was going to take a quick look. So, my co maintainer, John Ouellet, who is a far wiser man than I am, by merit of both of his years, but also of his many hours spent honing his craft, um, he has created a really cool thing that is a example of Lando running on Gitpod. And we did a blog post that I pushed out earlier this week. If you're on the Lando newsletter, which I highly recommend you get on to, um, you would have gotten pinged about it. But if you haven't seen this, you should check out the post I wrote on Lando running on GitHub Codespaces. The work that John did on Gitpod is using the same demo repo. We're just trying to make a example repo that shows you if you want to spin up a Drupal dev environment, here's 3 ways to do it: Gitpod, Codespaces, or just running Lando on your computer. And in both on these Gitpod and Codespaces examples, we actually have Lando inside of the virtualized environment, uh, orchestrating all of the container magic that actually runs the environment on these remote environments that you can develop on. So yeah, so I haven't really tried out. I think I've pressed this button once or twice just to be like, cool, it works. Good job, John. That's awesome. You're a good guy. But I haven't actually played around with it much. So I think today what I'm probably going to do is try out what he's done here. And I noticed before doing this video that we have a pull request in from, I think, for David Shaw. Yeah, Offer Shaw, sorry. And he's done a really cool project with DDEV, I believe, that helps spin up Drupal environments using Gitpod. So I think he's a huge Gitpod fan, and I think he has some ideas. So we can maybe, if we have some time, we can check that out too, and just see what he's cooking up there. So let's check this out. I'm going to click on this. I think I already have a Gitpod account, so it's just going to guide me through this, I'm going to guess. Cool. So I'm going to continue with GitHub, and it should see that I've already done things with Gitpod and authenticated with my GitHub account. So if you're doing this for the first time, maybe you're going to have to create a Gitpod account or something with your GitHub. Gitpod's cool. I think they have a fairly decent free plan, if memory serves. It frequently doesn't. Oh, because I'm signed in here. Yeah, let's go to Incognito and check that out. Yeah, pricing. So they have a pretty decent free plan, 50 hours a month. Nice. Okay. And this is actually better if you read my post on Codespaces, or if you watch, I think I have this up on YouTube now, if you want to go back and watch my video where I kind of run through Codespaces. You'll note that Codespaces you need to pay for from day one. From your first hour using it, they want to charge you. It's not much money at all, but it is money. So it's getting a little bit free is kind of nice here from Gitpod. Sweet. Oh, and we are spun up. That was pretty quick. I think one of the nice things about Gitpod, from my memory of John talking about it, and I'm sure he's going to be probably doing a video here on that'll be live streamed on Twitch. Follow us on Twitch and be posted to our YouTube shortly. And he'll probably have a lot more in-depth information on Gitpod. But I just kind of wanted to give you an outsider's perspective today, I guess. Like he'll be able to tell you all that stuff. But from my memory is what he was saying is that they have a pre-built feature that, unlike GitHub Codespaces one, which is in a private beta right now, actually works. And I think that gives us a lot of stuff that helps us spin up the environment a lot quicker. Looks like we're still running some setup commands. It looks like John has us doing a looks like he did a composer install here from just kind of scrolling through this terminal. I wonder if I can increase I don't know, that's just going to increase my browser size. Well, let's actually do that a little bit too, though. This might be easier for everyone to see. So it looks like he did a composer install on this Drupal site once the Lando infrastructure was spun up. And it looks like he's also doing a site install. So he actually installed the Umami, that's interesting. It's certainly the quickest way to get the working site up and running. I think actually in my code spaces config, I don't do this, which I could. It just adds a little bit of time. So maybe someday we'll decide whether it's better to give you a fully installed Drupal site for this environment, or whether we want to just kind of let you configure it. But not a huge deal either way in my mind. But yeah, this is really cool. So it looks like he's also configured it to pop up the browser window automatically. And this is a VS Code environment, by the way. I mean, like Gitpod is using VS Code. You can kind of tell just if you look at the sidebar here, they've styled it to be more Gitpod-y and in line with their branding. It looks nice. It actually looks like, it feels like it is part of the Gitpod experience. If if you were on their dashboard and everything, you came into this, it would feel more like it's part of Gitpod, not just a generic VS Code theme, which is sweet. I like that. I appreciate that. So it looks like it's spun up the Drupal site. Neat. I'm kind of curious to see if there's anything here that looks obviously different than on that like Git lens by default on here. I don't know if John did that, if that's in their default config. That's interesting. Remote Explorer. Okay, so this is a little different. So this is their ports windows, but this is very similar to what what Codespaces does. So we can open up. These are all the ports that Lando's exposing right now, and we can go to the Gitpod forwarded versions of these. I'm curious what the permissioning is like on these. Actually, let's try it out. So let's take this Gitpod forwarded link. I'm going to go to incognito window, and I'm going to try to access it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can't access it. So I'm assuming that right now there's a privacy setting on this. Oh yeah, of course. It says private right there. I mean, I can read. So I have two choices. I can just make it public, or it can be private. Actually, that's interesting. Compared to Codespaces, Codespaces lets you share with your organization. So there's kind of an intermediate option in Codespaces because it's baked within the idea of GitHub organizations and everything. I can actually share it just with the people in my organization, which is sort of nice. But this is good too. I mean, like private or public, it probably covers pretty much all the use cases you care about. I'm kind of curious what else is in here. Risk control. Yeah, same stuff, just default VS Code, debug, extension installation, whatever. GitHub. I'm not authenticated with GitHub. I wonder how this actually. Wow. Okay, so you'd have to. I gotta grant some extra permissions to the Gitpod extension in my GitHub configuration if I want to be able to talk to GitHub. Whatever, that makes sense. But yeah, that was pretty cool, and that was very painless. This could be a very short day of looking at things. Let's bounce back to the repo. So I'm curious to see that PR that Mr. Shaw had. Let's go back to GitHub Lando, and we're looking for Drupal dev environment. Okay, yeah, and again, if you're watching this and you missed it the first time, Lando/Drupal dev environment. I should probably post a link to that in the video description, so hopefully you'll have that. Yeah, and I guess in case you didn't notice, this is just forked off of Drupal, just to keep it as up to date as possible. I guess I can fetch the upstream right now. And we're not trying to change anything about Drupal. We're just trying to provide a Lando file on top of Drupal that can get you going faster. And then we're providing the dev container. So this .dev container, that's all the stuff for running in GitHub Codespaces. You could probably also use it to actually run locally using dev container on VS Code. We haven't played around with that as much. So that's something that's kind of on my to-do list. So that'll be, I'm sure I'll be doing future sessions on that. But for right now, this is all just GitHub Codespaces stuff. And then I think all the Gitpod stuff is just in the single YAML. Let's take a quick look at that, actually. I'm kind of curious. I've looked at it before, but it's been a little while. Yeah, so what is John doing here? He's got a Docker build. I'm guessing he's doing these steps to try to pull in these images we're going to run our Drupal application when we run the Lando start to try to make it a little quicker. I'm guessing because this init is probably something that's it's actually pre-baked and pre-built. I know he had some issues, I want to say, with like networking issues when restarting environments. If he ran, I want to say some Lando commands or something like that within the init steps, I think he may have taken them out of there. We could probably look at, I wonder if we could look at the commit log and just kind of see what he's done. 6 days ago. Everything happened 6 days ago. Okay, yeah. So that exactly looks like what he did. He used to be running Lando start and the composer installs and everything in the init step, and he took him out of there. I think that's right. That was because he was having issues when you would go back to an environment you already built. There was problems with like the Docker network, I think just getting lost or something. Over my head. Okay, so that's neat. Yeah, so this Gitpod works really well, at least for me. I'm curious if other people try it out. Let's take a quick look. I mean, this will be kind of, I guess, my this is definitely live explorations here. So let's have some fun with it. Okay. So Mr. Shaw is recommending that whatever setup can be run during pre-build would provide a nicer experience for the user. Yeah, that's what I thought. So let's take a look at what he's actually suggesting here. So he's unwinding the things that John wound up. And I'm curious to see if we do this. Yeah, let's just take a look at what happens when we do this and see if that problem that I remember having. So I remember encountering the problem where when I rebuilt or when I re-entered the environment, I had problems. So let's try that out. Let's try his Gitpod link here using PR. Awaited polling container image. I'm sort of like sad, but also glad that we all went away from the like SimCity copying, reticulating splines and all that stuff for install screens. I know I was actually the person I think that wanted to do that for Calabox. If you remember that, if you used Calabox, and I think it was good for then, but maybe I'm just old and boring now. But I feel like I've seen it too many places, and it gets old. Okay, so everything looks like things are spinning up. Install task. Yeah, okay, and we already got an error. Cannot start service database network. Yeah, these are the errors I remember getting. And that's interesting that it's interesting I'm getting it on first build, because I think that was a fresh Gitpod link. I don't know. I'm kind of curious why. But yeah. So I don't know if that's a Lando specific thing or if that's if that's like something that is something I don't understand about Gitpod, but something's going on that's weird there. So yeah, I think for the time being, I mean, can ask him. He knows probably more about Gitpod than I do, so I'll probably ask him on this PR. But for right now, I think that whatever reason John took that stuff out is still a decent reason. I'm trying to rebuild right now, by the way. Let's see, let me increase the text size here. So I'm just trying to Lando rebuild just to see if that works. If I remember correctly, that does get the environment back up, but it sort of defeats the whole purpose because it's going to take some extra time here. Yeah, so I'm guessing that got our environment back up. I'm also guessing that okay, yeah, that's back up. So he already, yeah, okay, interesting. So I couldn't tell you. It's one of those things that it almost makes me wonder if it would be. And maybe the thing to do is to experiment with this and see if doing a Lando rebuild after, like actually have it go through the steps that he is recommending, and then just run a Lando rebuild on start. Here, let's take a look again at his pull request code here. Change, I'm going to bump the text size. Apologies whenever I forget to do that. Yeah, so on init, he wants to do Lando start, and all of our composer commands, great, and the site install, and Lando start. And I'm assuming, like, I don't know enough about Gitpod. This is where John's video is going to be a lot better than mine here. But I'm assuming this just the command runs on every start. Um, so yeah, it's possible, I guess, that we could. It's kind of weird too. Why did he keep 2 Lando starts? That I'm not sure about. So it's almost like I wonder if you replaced that with a rebuild, if that would work. Um, anyway, that might be something fun. Oh, I'm really curious about it now, though. I'm trying to think like if I want to actually try to mess around with this. I don't really want to. Not right now. I got other stuff to do. I've got other fish to fry today. But yeah, I think I'll probably kind of end things there. Hopefully that gives me an idea that Gitpod is actually open for business with Lando. I think I would recommend just using the configuration that John has here that's on the Drupal dev environments repository that we have listed on our Lando organization. Um, Definitely keep on the lookout. We're going to be releasing a blog post where John's going to talk more about the work that he did here to get Lando running on Gitpod. That'll probably be out and published early next week. And I'm definitely going to be having him do a video, if maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe I'll convince him to do it tomorrow. If not, sometime early next week, where he's going to go through that with kind of a fine tooth comb and explain everything there is to be explained about Gitpod config files and how that plays nice with Lando. So yeah, hope you all are having a great end to your week. Definitely let me know if you have any questions. Subscribe to follow us on Twitch. This is a new thing for us. We're just trying to do fairly regular live streams that turn into, I don't want to go to Twitch. They're just going to play things at me. But yeah, we're trying to get on the Twitch, do some live streams, hopefully expose people to some new stuff that they're not familiar with. Oh, and I also promise, if you've noticed the crappy sound quality on this video and probably the last one, I'm going to be getting back my audio interface. I forgot a cable. I was out recording some stuff, and I forgot my cable somewhere. So I got to go get my cable, my Thunderbolt cable. Yeah, good times. Or actually, no, I think it was the power cable. It was power cable. I forgot the power cable. So yeah, better audio will be coming back, at least on my end, for the next video. Hopefully you don't mind the echoiness of the room. But yeah, subscribe on Twitch, follow us on Twitch so you get notifications when we're actually live. If you want to talk to me while I'm on here or whoever's doing the video that day, and follow us on Twitter and on YouTube. Usually that's the best place to kind of get live updates. YouTube, I'm always archiving over the videos there. It's probably where you're watching this right now. So anyway, hope you're having a great end of your week, and I will catch you guys all on the next Lando Live.